Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland here, the Modern Shaman. Thank you for being with me for another YouTube question and answer time. If you're new to the channel, I always invite you to like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notification button so that you will get notifications anytime I upload a new video, which I do every week. So you can stay tuned if this is something that you vibe with. All right, here is the question this week. It says, hi Rachel, my question is, I have anxiety. I take medicine for it that does help somewhat. I don't really stress over anything and I don't really ever feel anxiety in my mind. My body, however, starts tingling or reacting with anxiety and pressure in my chest. Why does my body react this way? I don't feel stressed, but when I feel into it, I realize it's because of money issues or whatever. So how do I integrate the calmness that I feel in my mind into my body? My body seems to react so differently than my mind. Even though I know in my heart that everything will be taken care of, my body says otherwise. How do I integrate the two? First, I just want to tell you, from a shamanic perspective, there is nothing wrong with what you're experiencing, okay? There is nothing wrong with anxiety or an anxious heart or a sense of nervousness. The body, the physical aspect of the body and the sensations and our emotional body are working well when they are doing what they're supposed to be doing in response to the stimuli that we're receiving, okay? Now, as we grow and mature, we start to try to navigate the balance of this to where we can have a sense of joy and happiness amidst all of the anxiety, stress, or sadness, or things that we also may experience in life. But your body is not working incorrectly when it is responding in this way. From the shamanic perspective, it's working very harmoniously, body, mind, and spirit. This is a good sign. So we have a very different take when it comes to things that arise in the body, right? Take, for instance, and I use this often with clients, if they're here for a healing session or any sort of shamanic journey or clearing that we may be doing. When the body has a fever, for instance, it arises naturally in harmony with your emotional form, with your physical form, to try to expel out any sort of illness, right? It creates fire. It's the element of heat within the body to purify. So there are natural ways, even within the emotional body, whether it's anxiety or depression, whether you feel like you want to cry or you feel like you want to be alone or you feel like you have nervous sensations or the palpitations in the chest, stress in the body. Our body is speaking. It's speaking the language that it knows and trying to get us to listen. So it's doing it all right. Your body is doing it all right. Oftentimes in our traditional, or I shouldn't say traditional, our current form of medication in the West is we chemicalize or we neuter out the symptoms and shift the neurological reply of the mind, which is kind of what you're saying, like your mind feels fine, and I don't know if this is the way you felt before you were on the medication. That would be something to tune into and think about, like how did your mind and body feel before you started taking the medicine. It's just an interesting point about what happens when we utilize our Western form of medication, especially for mood shifting neuroinhibitors, take inhibitors, so serotonin, dopamines, a lot of the anxiety medications, depression medications, ADD medications, ADHD medications, a lot of them deal with the way that the brain is processing information, be it emotional information, physical material information that it's processing. All that to say, these drugs typically aid in the functioning of the brain. So they let your brain keep moving. So you're on this pattern, and I can speak personally to this because I was on medication for depression for a while, and it created that chemical reaction in the body that everything's okay. So I felt fine. So I kept moving, and life keeps moving. This is what it's supposed to do. But from the shamanic perspective, in terms of the healing, the cause, what created the anxiety, the depression, what created it in the first place, is a sense of misalignment or something that needs to be paid attention to. Again, just like a fever is created to rid yourself of infection, the infection, something is in the body that is misaligned. Something is in the emotional body that is misaligned. And that needs to be addressed first and foremost. So when you ask about bringing the two in harmony, creating a sense of calm in the body, your body is responding naturally to the energy it's receiving, the energy that somehow feels stressed and doesn't have a way of processing that level of energy. Meaning the brain is just like skipping that step. It's enabling you to skip over that, and the neuropathway just kind of makes it smoother, and it just keeps going. So the brain is able to function and not process that level of anxiety mentally. It doesn't feel blocked by it. However, the physical body, and especially if you're clairsentient, I notice this with clients and those that I mentor and teach. If you are highly clairsentient, which means that it's a psychic sense of picking up non-physical energy, non-physical communication through the physical sensation of the body, right? Empaths are emotionally clairsentient. They're picking up a lot on the energy of others. They're processing that. If you're highly clairsentient, you're very sensitive to the energy, be it emotional energy of others, of situations, of environments, of systems that you may be a part of, family dynamics that you may be a part of. There's spheres in which you engage, and if you're highly sensitive to the energetic impact, your body is processing that on another level as well. And I will say that those that are highly sensitive to energy, I see that they have higher levels of, I just noticed that they're the ones that tend to get labeled with anxiety disorders or panic attacks or issues that deal a lot with energy and their body's response to energy. So it would also be important for you, if you don't already, to have a sense of energetic boundaries. All right? I talk a lot about psychic boundaries. If you are empathic or clairsentient and you're picking up on energy, your own energy as well as the energy of others as you're interacting, then it's important that you create a sense of energetic boundary. Also have a sense of energetic clearing that is a practice for you that feels like it works. If it has been happening for a long time, meaning you've dealt with this energetic issue for years or whatnot, then there are patterns in place. These are lifestyle patterns that we don't always realize that we're creating cycles that we're in, and it's like a hamster wheel, and we don't know how to get out of that wheel. So you have to create a new kind of pace for yourself that feels like there's a space or energetic locale of sensitive relaxation, peaceful energy for you. Okay, another thing that I will say is that when it comes to, you mentioned your chest, the tingling and the physical sensations in the chest. When it comes to energy and movement and flow, with your own personal sense of peace, I feel like the best way to do this is through breath work. Oftentimes, when we're experiencing panic or the sensations of anxiety, we cut and section off our breathing, and it's as if we're panting, right? We don't have full body life-giving air all the way through the body. So we are breathing like, this is the panic form of breathing. A lot of people breathe like this 24/7. They have no consciousness that they're breathing like this. I will sit with someone and they'll sit down in the chair and I'll align with their body and move into their form, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you are breathing like a puppy. You're like, you're all just conscious and constantly in this mode of anxiety. Even in the way that you're breathing, there's no sense of restoration to your breath. Your breath is your lifeline. This is how you create a sense of movement and pace to your body, right? Your heartbeat has a rate and a pace to it. Your breathing has a rate and a pace to it. Your speaking, which is part of the breath work, and sounding and vocalization, but it's dealing essentially in the pace that you're creating through your breathing. So slowing and being conscious of the pace that you're creating, the length of how far your breath, it should go all the way down your spine, into your tailbone, hit the very bottom of the tailbone, and come all the way back up into the throat. Again, like this, your spine all the way into your throat is a straw. And every breath, you should feel it come up and down, up and down. Now, these are practices because the mode of anxiety is also a practiced habit. It moves, like I said, into a state of a lifestyle. So the shifting here is about a clearing, but it's also about a new practice that you're going to have to move yourself into. It will be a sense of change that takes place over an extended period of time. Now, I realize when I say that it is a practice, we as humans do not like to hear this, right? We like our fast food, we like to pop a pill and get healed, we like a shift of consciousness that is night and day changing. But the truth of the matter is that when we create energy in a rhythmic pattern, meaning it becomes a pattern of living, a lifestyle, a habit, then the energy should be shifted in the same way. There should be an equivalent energetic pattern that almost weaves in and counteracts the dissonance there. So there is a sense of practice, and it needs to be important enough to you. Oftentimes, the way that spirit works with the physical form, if we're not paying attention to something, we're not making the change, our body starts to get us a sense of like a red light or flashing or a notice, a big billboard. It becomes, or the pain or the discomfort becomes our awareness to start to make it significant enough in our life to change and shift our lifestyle. That's oftentimes the only way that we will listen. If we'll listen ahead of time, if we will pay attention to the subtle nudges and be asking the questions of like, why is this coming up in the first place? And it sounds like you're doing that. You're tuning into the reasons why. If you'll go to the healing of those issues, the views that you have, like you mentioned around money, and I'm just using that as an example, worry and stress of provision creates a lot of energetic weight for people. So to go into why these issues bother you, and I know with my sense of depression, and even before that I had a lot of issue getting pregnant, and that stemmed from a fear I had from a past life about watching my children being taken from me, being harmed in front of me, issues that I was carrying and not addressing. So a lot of times there are latent fears, there are issues. If we will do the work, then we can shift that pattern and move into a different sort of lifestyle of awareness without the sensations of the body. The body will work in harmony to keep you in that sense of balance. That last point that I kind of got into, I want to go into a little bit more as kind of the final aspect of what I would recommend, is that if you haven't already, sometimes issues with anxiety, worry, fear, these are stemming from fear. Sometimes these are past life, ancestral trauma stored in our DNA. They can be issues that we carry into our current awareness, particularly, again, if you are moving into your own spiritual awareness. Things that deeply impacted you in the past can still be affecting you in this lifetime. A lot of times these come up like irrational fears, meaning you don't have any reason in this lifetime of why they would be bothering you, and yet they still bother you. And a lot of times they are very sensational, meaning your body will react because some of it is stored in the muscle memory. When you have lived a life and been through a particular trauma, and I'm going to use your example, maybe you went through a lifetime where you died of starvation or something, where you literally were not able to provide in a material way, and you had trauma because of that. Now, if that's stored on a deeper subconscious layering in your DNA, like I said, in your ancestral lineage, in any sort of past life pattern, then it may show up in these irrational ways within the body. And the muscle that remembered what that felt like will start to trigger, or if an event or something feels similar to an energy that was present then. And because of the energy that we're in right now in this world, a lot of these timelines are overlapping. So a lot of triggers are coming up from, when I say timelines overlap, it means like those lifetimes become very present or interactive in our current experience, right? They don't feel so far away. So the interactions, even within our physical body and our physical form, and the reactions of like your heart, like you were sharing, or the sensations of anxiety and the way that your physical muscles and your muscle memory are responding, sometimes is overlapping from those other timelines. And if this is the case, I would encourage you to do some deeper work. You can do hypnosis to clear this. You can do meditations to clear these issues. Going and having a release and asking that the energy be released from your muscle memory, from your cellular memory, from your DNA, and have a sense of a deep clearing. Also realizing there is a practice when the sensations are triggered within the body again, or they're triggered on some other level, to remind yourself that that was another lifetime, not now. Okay? That mental practice of that was then, this is now, this is not my current experience, to relieve yourself of any sort of trauma that you start to go in this linear thinking of like, oh no, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. And it starts to trigger an emotional and a physical response in the body if you have lived through that before and know possible circumstances that turned out negatively, or I don't, negative is I don't really like that term, but turned out in ways that feel like they were dense or heavy or difficult. And that density is still stored, or that contraction in the body is still stored. So you can go through that, remind yourself that was that timeline, not now, and have a practice of that when the triggers come up in the future. And like I said, a deep clearing, whether it be through hypnosis, through meditation, through shamanic journeying, soul retrievals, anything that sets the intention to clear any past life energy or trauma, can be very, very effective as well, to have that sense of balance and just a deep clearing of your emotional, physical space that's been stored within the body. I hope that is helpful to you. You guys stay tuned next week and we will do another video. Blessings.